But they absolutely test positive in multiple childhood, and they are now. Also, they're testing positive in the MMR vaccines. Oh, I'm sorry, the mRNA vaccines, the current COVID vaccines. But you're not going to find that data. You're going to find it on the National Institutes of Health. Thyroid disease and thyroid cancer. Could glyphosate and glyphosate-based herbicides be associated with increased thyroid disease worldwide? I don't know. Did y'all see that chart a second ago that shows an absolute correlation? Obesity and endocrine disrupting male feminization and female masculinization. Obesity and endocrine disrupting chemicals, and a list in there. Now, glyphosate helps bring aluminum into the brain, calcifying the pineal gland. We're going to be talking about the pineal gland if I have time. I don't know how long I even have. I'm just going to go by what we can do. But calcification of the pineal gland, what might that cause? Sleep disturb. That's good because of melatonin, right? Oh, you're gonna have fun if we can get. I'm gonna do the pineal gland, I guess, next instead of T-goni. Yeah, there are a lot of problems. Anyone ever heard of what Socrates said about the pineal gland back in the 1500s? You're good. You got some data. Yeah, he said it was our connection to God, basically. Said it was our connection to the spirit world. Said it was our connection to God. Wow, let me not get down that rabbit hole yet. Anxiety and depression. Glyphosate-based herbicide exposure affects gut microbiota, anxiety, and depression-like behaviors in mice. That was the study that was done just on mice. Parkinson's. It's shown that exposure to pesticide is a risk factor for Parkinson's disease. Our findings support that the notion that glyphosate exposure might be related to the onset of Parkinson's disease. Have y'all ever known that? That's in a study, but if you said that, if you heard CNN saying that, people would believe it. But for some reason, CNN won't talk about it. Look, when we look up this, when did you do this, sweetheart?
April.
In April of 2022, I want you to look at this strong. When you Google, is glyphosate safe? It tells you there's no risk or concerns to human health from current use of glyphosate. Well, we're getting the van washed. Our van was dirty. We're getting our van washed. That's coming up. Okay. Y'all just hold tight. Remember what they said. This is in what, April?
April.
This is what they said. No risk of concern to human health. Right? Oh, but wait. On September the 23rd of 2022, they dropped the approval of glyphosate. The EPA no longer approves glyphosate. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all know that? Did CNN tell us this? Did Fox News tell us this? Oh my gosh, it's a conspiracy. It really is, but yet, it's not. It's here. It happened, and guess what? There it is. There's the withdrawal of glyphosate. They've just decided. Guess what? It's killing people. Whoops. And this is the 23rd. What's today? October 1st. A week ago. What is that other one? The one where
Must be on down.
it's on down. Okay. I'm getting there. And that spray travels 3 miles and lands on everything along the way, whether it's your child riding their bike outside, your barbecue grill, your swimming pool, the dog park, the kids' playground, the organic neighborhood farms. Organic is not glyphosate free unless it's glyphosate free. You know why? Because to be certified organic, you don't have to be without glyphosate. That's why Whole Foods Grocery is not a great place for people to shop if they're truly wanting organics. I did so good. That camera helps me, ET over there. They're just not the place to go. Aldi, there's a no list. There's a bad guy list. Whole Foods is at the top. We can't even trust Jeff Bezos, y'all. We can't trust billionaires. Come on. Oh, and the appeals court found that the EPA actually shirked its duties in its glyphosate cancer ruling. When they say glyphosate was safe, a few slides over, glyphosate's safe. Eat it. No. Back in June the 17th. See, this has been happening. This has been an ongoing thing over the past few years. There's a group of people. What's funny is there are people that we might not agree on one single other topic in the world. Californians, they're over there trying to, close down plants because there's some sort of like tadpole that might go, well, you know what, they sure did help out on this. On June 17th, United States Court of Appeals ruled that the EPA shirked its duties. Did y'all know about atrazine? Now, how many of y'all know about this weird guy, what's his name? InfoWars, Alex Jones. Okay, you're talking about conspiracy theories. No one ever wants to admit that they like him because he's kind of a nut job. And he got kind of in trouble because he said the Sandy Hook thing was a hoax. That was dumb. But anyway, they make fun of him about one particular thing. Anybody ever heard him say something about, they're turning the frogs gay? You heard that? You never heard that? Yeah, he literally, if you go type in Alex Jones and just go to Google, that's all you're going to hear because, of course, Google hates him and everybody else hates him. They're turning the frogs gay. Really? Well, whoops. It's turning the frogs gay. The nut's right. He wasn't wrong about that. I'm sorry, effeminate. They're causing effeminate natures to the frogs, and it's causing effeminization in our boys, and that's not a good thing. Atrazine effects on the body. Look at this. Tumors, breast, ovarian, uterine cancers, as well as leukemia and lymphoma. Now, this is just if you go to Dr. Google and say, what are the atrazine effects on humans? And there you go. And but who's telling us that, right, by the way? Just some wacko, some new age, Mother Earth News? No, it happens to be the state of Vermont. The state of Vermont tells us that it has a lot of adverse effect on things such as tumors, breast, ovarian, and uterine cancers, as well as leukemia and lymphoma. And it also causes birth defects, reproductive tumors, and weight loss in amphibians, as well as in humans. Vermont knows this. Alabama doesn't know it. Look at this, all these things. It's an endocrine disruptor. It's carcinogenic. It affects the reproductive system. Oops. Homosexuality. There's actually, look at this, there's a study. This scientifically proven pesticide linked to homosexuality in men? Really? I don't blame women, by the way. Demasculinization and feminization. It's there. The data's here. Literally, you have study after study after study. Guess what's still available? What's still used? What's still in our food? What's still in our water? Atrazine. Somebody Google. Did that not get put on their thing?
I guess not.
Somebody right now, if you can get an internet connection, will you please? I will. I'm going to Google, is glyphosate safe? You feel free to do the same thing yourself. Just go to Google, go to your Google box. We're going to overload the Wi-Fi here. And go to Google and type in, is glyphosate safe? Where did it go? Anyway, long story short, now if you type it in, it pulls up that it's banned, or that it has been dropped, and it's unsafe. And then it causes basically everything that we're talking about. So it's like night and day. For some reason, it's like they're just wanting to forget it ever happened.
A lot of disappearing and changing definitions lately.
Right, yeah, and a lot of things. It's a mess. So what do we do to remove this chemical from our body? Y'all do know, by the way, this has been the most depressing conversation I think y'all probably ever sat through. I'm sorry. But it's real talk. We need to know. You know now. Every one of you know. Does anybody doubt what we're saying? I mean, if you do, then I'll send you the articles and please research it for yourself. Because it's not us saying it, we're just putting it together. We're putting some puzzle pieces together here because basically the story is my wife and I have we teach at a school 3 days a week. It's the school our kids go to. It's a K through 12. There's about 30 students, and we teach 3 days a week. We volunteer, and it's amazing. It's one of the greatest things we've ever done and ever will do. The administrator of the school is my boss. It's the only person on this earth that I literally submit to, like as a boss or as somebody that, because I have to, because we're both ATOPs. We never made it together, and so she's somebody that we serve, and we live close to her, and we pass her house all the time. We love her family, we love them, and her daughter was born with severe heart problems, and had a lot of problems, early on in her development. And she has a lot of, our administrator, she doesn't mind me telling you this because I'm not saying her name, but she has a lot of health problems, rheumatoid arthritis, gastrointestinal problems, kidney issues, and so forth and so on. A lot of swelling, a lot of water retention, a lot of things. They're country people. I mean, they are country people. You should hear her talk. If you heard her talk, you'd think you're an administrator of a school. No, hey, no. It's just, I mean, she's country, but she's wonderful. And so we'll never be able to show this video to her. So we help her with her health, and she keeps coming up to us with things. We've been doing a lot. We were driving by our house one day, and we looked, and they were spraying the fields behind her home. They live like in a soup bowl on like family property. They have a business, and there's like 7 cousins and nieces and nephews, and my lord, they're related to everybody, and half of them live right there. And so, but there's up above it in like a bowl are crops and crops of hey, it's soy one minute, it's going to be cotton the next, and it's constant. And this is not soy and cotton is not even used for human consumption. Soy that's not used for human consumption is peat soy, and they're hosing it down with glyphosate. And then we used to get eggs from this person. She has chickens that are down in her backyard at the base of all of the crops. And we were getting the eggs 2 years ago, maybe 3, it's been a long time, 3 years ago, during the summer, I became really sick, gastrointestinal. I couldn't figure it out. I would get sick, I'd eat breakfast, I might not be able to hold breakfast down, I'd drink yellow root tea, that's all. I was literally I was walking around with yellow root tea, a jar of it, all the time. And so, finally, we're like, okay, enough is enough, there's something wrong with me. So we started just doing elimination first, before I freak out, go, I have a stomach tumor. It's like, okay, let's do elimination for about a week or 2. I eliminated the eggs. I was immediately better. Within 3 days, I wasn't having any of the symptoms, but I still felt weird. Well, we didn't really, we dropped it. We didn't finish the thought process. And 3 years later, we're driving by and we see them hosing down the fields. So the next morning I said, do they use glyphosate? Oh, that's all they use on the fields. That's all they use in Cherokee County is glyphosate. If you knew Cherokee County, Alabama, there's some problems health-wise and mental health-wise. And then I said, well, she said, matter of fact, so-and-so, her husband, uses it all around the house. He uses it all the time. And I about fell out. Y'all, every single problem, and that child who we love, who's now, graduated high school, who's limited physically because of her problems, it's all because of glyphosate and or whatever else is in spray. We put her on some things that we're going to talk about here, and it's amazing the turnaround. So now look at this. These are some things you can do to get rid of. I like this one at the second from the bottom. Don't use Roundup. Break the arm of the person who might try to use Roundup in your home. Look at it. Use a sauna or get outside and sweat. Avoid all vaccines. The gelatin additives contain glyphosate. Avoid table sugar, white table sugar. Use organic cane sugar instead. Avoid all gelatin unless it's certified organic. I'm not a big government agency person. If you knew me, you know, some of y'all know me pretty well. No, you're not a government agency. The USDA seal, the USDA organic seal is the best thing to look for. That's actually what you need to look for, is the USDA organic seal. Avoid dog. Limit your intake of glyphosate by eating organic foods. Now, this is for real. You can actually, you'll change your life. Now, I know how hard it is. People say, well, and I don't mean Whole Foods organic. Now, I'm talking about know where your food's from. It doesn't. If it's not certified organic, well, if you know Jimmy who raises the cow and you see the feed that he's using and so on and so forth, and you know the origins, that's great. Eat certified organic. Be careful of the meat when you eat. Most cattle and chickens are fed glyphosate-saturated crops. Eat only organic meat or chicken. Be sure that your tap water is purified at least. Then it's gone through a filter that takes out chemicals such as glyphosate. Don't cook with unfiltered water. Heat doesn't do it. At a restaurant, ask for bottled water. And detox glyphosate from your body regularly. How do you detox glyphosate? So what supplements detox glyphosate? You ever heard of fulvic acid? Fulvic acid is weird. It's like dirt bacteria, right? That's what it is. You've heard about ivermectin, right? I heard about it so much I don't even want to talk about it. But what is ivermectin? Wormer, anti-parasite. True, true. Where does it come from? What is it really? Totally different. Quinine comes from a tree like the cinchona, and it a little different. Where's it come from? Bacteria. It's dirt bacteria. All it is ivermectin is a probiotic. That's all. It's a probiotic. It's dirt bacteria. It's a dirt probiotic. Japanese guy, he did a soil sample, found ivermectin, found out that it's an antiparasitic, which is interesting for a bacterium to be an antiparasitic. Really interesting. Fulvic acid is also a dirt bacteria, but you can consume it. Matter of fact, who is the fancy person in Hollywood that's like one of the Kardashians?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of the Kardashians on TikTok talking about how she's taking fulvic acid, how it's making her, I guess, better. So, fulvic acid has a negative ionic charge. Let's look at it. Here's the effect of fulvic acid on atrazine degradation. This is where they actually tested it against atrazine. Fulvic acid is another component in humus along with humic acid. It's a small molecule to be absorbed in the blood. It helps bind glyphosate in the tissues, while humic acid, which occurs naturally in fulvic acid, is larger and has more impact in binding glyphosate in the intestine. You have to dig. It's so hard to find this information, but here it is. They've done the studies. Fulvic acid binds to glyphosate in the gut. It'll also make your teeth black if you try to make the powder. It's really interesting stuff. Bentonite clay. Now, y'all have heard of bentonite clay, right? Okay, bentonite clay. Now, don't just go out to the drugstore and buy some bentonite clay and start eating it, because it's a little freaky, because there's tons of heavy metals in most bentonite clay. You have to get a certified organic bentonite clay. I've only found 2 companies that provide it, and we use those companies with our bentonite clay. It's a natural. Here it talks about it in pretty good detail. Well, I don't know if they did that or not. Y'all can look at that as an abstract. There it is. There it's talking about toxicity of glyphosate using bentonite clay. Now here's something kind of cool. Let me go back to bentonite. I want to go back. I'll mess something up. Bentonite. Deborah and I are kind of different, and we don't really watch normal TV because I can't stand the commercials. We try to watch a cooking. You can't even watch a cooking show anymore. Cooking show. They say cooking with transvestites. It's like, and so you can't even look at anything. I mean, you can't watch TV. So we watch like nerd stuff. We watch documentaries, and we go to a place called McKay's. You might have heard of McKay's? Oh my God. It's a bookstore. They sell used books and like used videos and used movies, and it's like the greatest place on earth nearly, if you can tolerate being there. And we get documentaries and just stuff. It's like gold.